Hello, hello, YouTube and TikTok world over there. Let me go ahead and just get my thing pulled up so I can see your guys' comments as you are hopping in live. I'm so excited for this conversation that we're going to have today. Like, you guys, we are ending 2025 with a bang, and I am so excited to go into 2026 and like what is happening because it is going to be a massive year. I can already freaking feel it. So, we're going to talk today about some really good stuff. There's Brittany. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are. And let's go ahead and get into it. So, hello. If this is the first time that you are finding one of my videos, my name is Jessica Cardinal. I'm an online coach, I'm a high ticket mentor, and really what I do is I help women escape the corporate grind by leveraging a high ticket business model that has radically changed my life in the last couple years. So I used to be a social worker by trade, and 4 years ago, I quit my job to jump into high ticket full time. And I have built like an insanely incredible business that has done about 70 million, 65 to 70 million in sales. I've retired myself. I've retired my husband. We get to be completely free together. I've helped over 300 people quit their jobs in the last couple years. And it's just been like an absolutely incredible ride. And there is so many things like when I say like I'm in the God zone, like I have so many things that I want to create content about, that I want to talk about, that I want to share about. And I just have like so many things that I want to share with you guys. So I'll probably be going live a lot over the next week, going into the new year, because like I said, I have so many things that I want to share with you guys because we are in this like massive transformation moment. Like I feel like we are on the verge of something so incredibly like next level. Hey Jessica, how are you? Okay, now I can see my chat. And so if you're here, like drop me some hearts, let me know that you're hanging out. I have this live video that I'm going to do right now, and then I have a call with someone that wants to get back home with her family in an hour, and I have like so many incredible things happening. But I want to talk to you guys today about my direct client who messaged me. I think we were talking about it yesterday. I think she messaged me a couple days ago though with the holidays, and she told me that she is putting in her 2-week notice. So I haven't like chatted with her about announcing it like specifically about her yet and celebrating her. So I'm not going to disclose who, but I am so incredibly excited for her. Okay. So she is like a drug and alcohol counselor, just like I was doing in like the social work field. And she's extremely burnt out. Okay. We will be doing a live interview here soon about her journey and her story, but I wanted to bring it here with you guys because I wanted to talk about how nothing changes if nothing changes. Okay. Like, no one is going to come save you. No one is going to rescue you. No one is going to tell you, like, hey, I have a crystal ball, and if you make this decision, it's going to work out. And if you make this decision, like, things are going to change for you. Like, you have to learn how to trust your intuition and trust, the things that you see and like where you're being guided in making decisions and what you're doing. So for me, she's kind of in the same boat that I was in. Okay. So for me, when I found high ticket, I got into high ticket. I had no experience. I had no prior success in like anything else that I had tried before, but I got into high ticket and I didn't close a sale for a while. Like I was in high ticket. I was what I thought was all in. I came to every coaching call. I was creating content every single day. I was showing up in the best capacity that I could show up in. But at the same time, I was still getting my bachelor's degree. I was still working as a and as in social work. I was running a whole like entire recovery community center. I had multiple employees under me. It was a pretty high stress job, and I was still doing all of that. I had an infant at home. I had a 3-year-old at home. I had my husband, like my home life, my family life, and I had all these things going on while I was also trying to scale high ticket. And for me, and we're going to get into her, but for me, it was hard for my energy to go where it needed to go. And so all of my energy was in this job where I was extremely I was burnt out. I was miserable. I didn't feel valued. I was working late at night and getting home super late. I was commuting 45 minutes one way, and then I was coming home and I was trying to work my business. I was trying to be a mom. I was trying to be a wife. I was trying to do all of this. And my energy was like in all of these freaking places. And so because my energy was everywhere, like nothing happened. Okay. I wasn't closing sales. I was still struggling with anxiety and depression. I was still doing this because my energy was just all over the place. And so we know that like your focus goes and, you know, you grow wherever your energy goes. And considering like my business at that time in my life was getting like this much of my energy, nothing was happening in it. Because if you've been following me for any amount of time, yay, I love when people retire to pursue this full time. Me freaking too. And so if you've been following me, you know I say that like entrepreneurship is incredible, but if you want to build something that is big, right? If you want to get to $10,000, $20,000 months, if you want to build a business that is sustainable, that has like reoccurring passive income, then you have to like, there has to be so much momentum in the beginning to get that off of the ground. And so when your energy is in 1,000 different places and you're giving your business this much of your energy, it's going to take a lot longer for that momentum to kick in to help you like propel that business off of the ground. And this is the struggle that a lot of people have, is that their energy's in so many different places that they can't get the freaking rocket ship up off the ground. And this is why I tell people all the time, you know, people who put their eggs in a bazillion baskets, right? They're in this business and then they start this business and they start that business and they start this business. And they're like, well, I'll just share all of these businesses with my audience. And then like maybe one day one of them will blow up. But it's like, if your energy isn't actually all in on that idea and that thing, none of them aren't going to blow up. Like it's not a lottery, right? And that's how people like act in their businesses. They're like, well, if I just have all of these options, maybe one of them will blow up. Again, we don't build successful, thriving businesses off of a wish and a prayer. We don't build successful, thriving businesses off of like this lottery system. And so we have to have our energy where it matters most. We have to have our energy in a place, in a way that is in like full alignment with where we're wanting to go. And so for me, I realized that with my energy being in so many different areas with my business and my family and all these other things, that like my business wasn't going to take off. So for me, I needed to like go full blown psychotic, and I needed to quit my job before I had the results to prove that I would be okay. And this is like really backwards for a lot of people, but I almost wish people were as psychotic as me, because if you want to have like insane results, if you want to build like a beautiful, thriving business, like you have to be a little psychotic, like a little bit. Okay. And I wish more people had that risk tolerance, because that risk tolerance is needed most of the time to build big things, to have extraordinary results happen. And most people, we're so conditioned from a young age to have no risk tolerance that we don't then build anything built beautiful, because we're thinking, well, you know, my job is secure. My job is predictable. My job is reliable. And we are taught through society in a lot of different ways that like stay with what's safe, right? Like that's what our parents, like for my generation, taught us, was like, go to school, you know, get a degree, get a good, stable, safe job. Because if you have a degree, then you're safe. And if you have a degree and you have a safe, stable job, like you'll be okay. And like, that's what matters. And I get like the intention behind it was pure, right? So that we didn't have to struggle, but it created this society that we have today with people who have zero risk tolerance. They're not willing to bet on themselves. They're not willing to go all in on themselves. And so then you're afraid to create disappointment. You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of all of these feelings that might not feel good. And in return, then you go on to lead a disappointing life because you are trying to avoid disappointment. And this like cycle that we get stuck in is not good. Okay. Especially if you're the kind of person where you're like, I want to live an extraordinary life. I want to experience things that most people don't ever get to experience. The reason those people do, and the reason those people you're following on social media live a life that you wish you could experience, is because they had risk tolerance. They were willing to do things that didn't make sense. They were willing to make choices and make decisions before they knew how it was going to work out. They were willing to be the one to say, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try. I'm going to go for it and I'm going to see like what happens. And like, I'm going to give it my all. And those are the people that have then go on to have these stories of making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per month. The thing that everyone has in common in my organization, between all of the women who are making that kind of money, $10,000 to $50,000 per month, what they have is they have that risk tolerance where they didn't know how it was going to work out. They had no experience. They had no, anything. And then they were just like, I'm going to figure it out. And the only way that I'll fail is if I quit. And so I'm just not going to quit and I'm going to go all in. And they were willing to make that decision for themselves. And so for me, again, I quit before I had the results. But most people have the thought process of, well, I need to see if it's going to work first, and then I'll make the decision. But that's not how life works. Okay. So I hear those things from client or potential clients. I guess most of the people who think this way don't join. But I have heard that before where they're like, well, I'm just going to go see if I can generate some leads. I'm going to go see if I can get people interested. And then if I compile a couple people that are interested, then I'll get started. And that mindset doesn't even make sense to me, because you don't have the strategies, you don't have the skill sets, you don't even know what you're doing, because you're not hiring me as a mentor yet, because I'm not going to give you the skills and the strategies for free. You're not going to get my time, all of my time for free, if we're not working together. So now you're going to go try to do something that you have zero idea on how to do to see if it's going to quote unquote work out. That is not how life works, right? If you want to be a doctor, you don't get to go perform a surgery to see if you like it before you become a surgeon. You don't get to go work with clients and patients for, a couple days or a couple weeks before you decide if you want to be a doctor. You don't get to go test drive these things in its full potential to know if that's what you want to do. And so it's kind of the same thing here. We don't know, but we trust the intuition. We see the vision. We see okay, the game plan, here's how it's going to work. Here's what's the potentiality of what we could do. And we go all in. And so that is where my client is also at, where she doesn't have these quote unquote insane results. She's made some money. Yes. She has a couple people under her, but nothing. She hasn't had a $10,000 a month yet. She hasn't had a $20,000 a month yet, but she knows what is possible. Because again, once you see that, because in her scenario, especially, she's going to be able to replace her monthly income with one sale. And then soon, after we close a few more sales, she'll be at the point where she's doubling her monthly income in one sale. Once you really understand that, and understand, I have a hair on me that won't go away. Once you understand that you can put in the effort that it takes to close one sale per month and replace your monthly income, that's how you get your time back. That's how you get your life back. It's not by giving 160 hours per month to a business or a company that doesn't value you, doesn't appreciate you, treats you like garbage, in exchange for a quote unquote paycheck that feels predictable, a paycheck that feels safe, a paycheck that feels somewhat secure. But here's the thing, especially in relation to my client that's quitting her job, her daughter worked in the same company and was fired a couple months ago for no cause. And that happens all of the time, because these corporations don't care about you. They care about their bottom line. They care about, people who are loyal to a fault. They care about how much they can squeeze out of you. They care about how much they can get from you. That's what they care about. So your job that you think right now is safe and secure is just a false facade that you believe to be true, because that is what they've taught you to believe. Be grateful for the paycheck. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you get. Be grateful for the PTO. Be grateful for this nice little benefits package. Be grateful for this. Be grateful for that. But don't say anything back. Don't question anything. Don't push back. Don't ask for more time. Don't ask for more pay. Don't do that, because you should be grateful for what you have. This is the cycle that we are taught to be okay with. And so when you get into high ticket and you see my masterclass and you see what it takes to make your monthly income in one sale or less, this is how we get our time back. This is how we get our life back. And this is how we prioritize who we are and who we want to become. Because when you are stuck in a job where you're working, 40, 50 hours per week, and because of the job that you're working, you're so burnt out that you get home and you have to be a mom and you have to be a wife and you have no energy left, you're burnt out, you're exhausted, you're struggling with depression and anxiety. Like when you're in that cycle, you don't self-actualize. You don't have the energy to read self-development books. You don't have the energy to prioritize your mental and physical health. So you're not going to therapy. You're not going to the gym. You're not prioritizing your eating because you're probably eating crap because it gives you a dopamine hit because you're so miserable with your fucking life. Like this is the cycle that we get into because of a safe paycheck with a job that doesn't even care about us. And so when you can make your monthly income in one sale or more than your monthly income in one sale, you get your entire life back. And that is what I tell people all the time when I talk about what has this business given me. Like, of course, yes, it has given me a great income. Yes, it has helped me, retire my husband. It has helped us, set up, trust funds for the kids. It has helped us, move and buy cars and do what we want to do. But more importantly, it is giving me my time back to prioritize my growth, to prioritize my physical health. I've lost 85 pounds over the last couple of years and I've kept it off and I've built muscle and I've done a lot of things. And that is like one of my favorite things that this business is giving me, because now that I'm healthy physically, I get to be a better mom. I get to be a better wife. I get to be a better friend because I like to go places. I like to play at the park with my kids. I like to kick around the soccer ball. I like to go for walks with the kids. I love to go do that. I can get on the floor and play with my kids. That is more powerful than even the money. Because I can prioritize like my mental health. I am happier. I don't struggle with depression. I don't want to just lay in bed all day. I don't struggle with anxiety unless I'm flying on a plane. I can see the fucking hope for life. I can see the vision for life. I can dream. And then I can self-actualize those dreams. And then I can think about like what more I can create and where I can go and what I can do. And I can experience other cultures and I can travel and take my kids, all across the world, and we can see things and experience things. I don't have to say no to everything, because then I have the money to say yes and I have the time to say yes, because I don't have to be strapped to a job that does not give a fuck about me for 40 to 50 hours per week. I don't have to be told by a grown adult how much time I can take off, or if I can take a day off to go to the doctors, or if I can take a day off to, go to the field trip with my kids. I don't have to ask for permission to live my fucking life. And so when you see that and it really like sinks in and it locks in about what you can do when you realize that you have the power to do whatever the fuck you want to do, you can't unsee it. But again, that power, that innate power, that knowing of, trusting yourself to make a decision to change your life, like that can only come from you. I can talk at you all day long. I could talk to you about, creating change. I could talk to you about empowering yourself. I could talk to you about how to be the one. But until you really open up your mind and allow you to believe that, it's going to be really hard for you to make change. And if you play the victim your entire life thinking, well, I have to stay in this stable job, I have to stay in this, secure job, like I don't have a choice, you haven't gotten out of the victim thinking yet. Because we all have choice. We all have freedom of choice. But again, your job has allowed you to believe that if you don't have a paycheck, this secure paycheck, like nothing is going to work out and you can't do it. But I fully believe that when I quit my job 4 years ago and I went all in on my business and I created the results that I did, it's because my energy was in full alignment. My energy, my embodiment, like where I wanted to go, I cleared up all of the like cloudiness, and I realized that like I could make decisions. I could make changes. I could make the choices to get me to where I wanted to be. And it was in that moment, I literally remember the moment sitting in my office. I had just had to like write someone up for just like not doing their fucking job, which was the biggest annoyance to me ever when I was working like normal jobs, was like, why do people just not do the bare minimum of their job? And so I had to write someone up, and I remember sitting in my office being like, I can't do this for 30 more years. Like, I'm 27 years old. I'm absolutely miserable. I I don't want to be here tomorrow. I don't want to be here next week. Like, I can't do this for 30 more years of my life. And I remember seeing, or not seeing, but talking with someone who was in my community. We were like sidelines. And she was quitting her job. She was quitting her job. She had a couple sales, but not really. But she had the thought of like, well, I'm going to go all in on myself because I see what's possible and I'm going to do it. And when she told me that, I had that feeling that day about my job. She told me she was quitting her job that day and she hadn't had any success. And I saw all these other people in my community were making a bunch of money. And oh my gosh, hold on, you guys. What is happening here? Live is not eligible and you're restricted for 10 minutes. That is so wild. Okay. Anyway, my TikTok just got restricted for something about my life. Anyway, and so I saw that she had made that decision and it empowered the hell out of me to realize like I could make that decision. What? I could make that decision to quit my job before I had the results and go on to then create the results. Like I had that power because at that time I had like zero personal power. I had some, obviously enough to like make the decision to get into high ticket, but I had like no personal power. And so I decided like, holy shit, I get to be the one to like decide what I do with my life. And I'm going to go all the way the fuck in. And I did. And it was literally, I had that conversation with my husband that night and I put in my 2-week notice like the next day. And I quit my job and I went all in. Because when you finally realize that like you are the one, you have the power over your own life. You have the power to make changes and you have the power to get the results that you want. Like just that one decision or that one understanding or that one knowing, like true knowing where it like finally hits you. We're like, holy shit, I have power to change my life. Like even that one decision, that one knowing, that one moment will create a massive ripple effect in your life. Like that one shift out of the matrix, like that one shift of realizing, holy shit, there's so much more. Holy shit, I can actually do things. I can actually decide what I want in my life and I can go for it. Just that one decision literally changes your world in so many different ways. And then it compounds and compounds and compounds and compounds to creating the life that you really want. And so, yes, it's the micro decisions every single day that you make. But if you're sleeping right now and you haven't even woken up, like that moment when you really wake up to what the fuck is going on around here will change your life. And again, you could have made decisions currently in your life that feel like big decisions. Like if you're watching this and you're in my team, you're in high ticket, or you have a business that you've started, you could be like, well, I've made the decisions. You can make decisions that are in a place of where you're still don't hold the power to change. You could still make decisions that feel like you're moving to where you want to move, but if your energy is still not in alignment, if you still in the back of your brain, like your subconscious mind still believes that like you don't have any power to change, even though you're making decisions to change, things aren't going to change, right? And so if you borrow someone's power, like circumstantial power to say yes to something, that's still not really your own power. So if you're watching this and you're in high ticket or you have a business and it hasn't really taken off, I want you to like really sit and think about, do you feel like you have your own power? Do you feel like you can trust your intuition? Do you feel like you make decisions based on, your personal power and where you're going? Or do you make decisions based on fear, scarcity, lack, and those kinds of things? Because that matters. Because again, you could still be doing things, but just going through the motions, not fully believing that it's going to happen for you, not fully believing that you have the power to change anything, fully believing that it's still the economy's fault, your mentor's fault, the business's fault, the social media's fault, the whatever's fault. You could still believe that, yet be in the thing that's going to get you free. And so this is why I tell people, like, if you're in my team and you haven't closed any sales yet and it's been quite a few months or whatever, Like, don't give up hope. There's still something in you that just a puzzle piece that needs to fit in. Just because it's not working right now doesn't mean it's not ever going to work. Just because you try something for a little bit amount of time and you don't see the results that you want to see doesn't mean that it's not ever going to happen. Just because you have a bunch of income and then your income goes down doesn't mean it's not going to go back up. Like, this is the challenge and the beauty of life, is that like we're always growing and scaling. There's always more that we can develop. There's always other mindsets that we can have. There's always other shifts that we can have. That's why I'm always still investing in mentorship and, growth and development for myself, because I know that like this is never going to stop. I can always be a better leader. I can always be a better mentor. I can always be a better mom, a better wife, a better friend. I can always be a better me. I can always develop. I can always grow. But if you believe like, I know it all, I'm good, I got it, like this is just not working, like that's not really the mindset to have. And so again, I want to challenge you to think like, if you don't have the results yet that you don't want to have, why is that? Are you just going through the motions? Do you just think like, it should be easier? Do you think that, no matter what you do, it's not going to work out, so you're not really going all in? Because sometimes it's easier to not go all in, because if you go all in, you say you're going all in, and then it doesn't work in the way that you thought it was going to work, then you are, you look like a failure, quote unquote. You don't want to fail. You don't want to disappoint people. You don't want to disappoint yourself. So again, when we're avoiding disappointing ourselves, disappointing others, looking like a failure, falling on our face, when we avoid all of that, we then create a disappointing life. Which for me, I would rather try, fail, fall on my face, win a little bit, lose a little bit, still pick up, try again. Because I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. I really don't. I care about me, my goals, my family, where I'm going, where I want to go, my mission, my impact, my brand, how I want to help people. Like, that's what matters. But until you realize that you are the one to make those choices and those decisions for yourself, you're going to stay a victim to your circumstances forever. And when you stay a victim to your circumstances, you live a disappointing life. And so this is why I'm so proud of my client who, even though she doesn't have the results yet that you would think would make sense for someone quitting their job, she's going all in. She sees the vision. She sees what's possible. And so with that, she knows if her energy's in full alignment, we can create some fucking magic. So I'm not saying like go out there and quit your job if you're not ready to quit your job, but I am saying like, do you realize that you are the one for you in your life? Do you realize the power that you hold? Because you can do this without quitting your job. Sure, I have a lot of people who wait and then they quit their job, right? But for people like me, for people like my client, we need to jump off the cliff and know that the wings will appear. And then they always do. Because it's that decision that I know I have the power. I know I hold the power. I know I am the one who's going to take me to where I want to go. And so with that, you guys, I have to get off here because I have a call here in just a little bit that I need to get ready for. But I will announce like my client who's quitting her job here soon. I've helped over 300 people at this point. I don't even know how many like quit their jobs in the last couple years. Like, but you are the one who can do that. I can give you the tools. I can give you the strategies. I can give you the mindsets. But if you think it's all crap, if you think it's all never going to work, if you think that only works for the lucky ones, or it only works for the people who look a certain way, or, it's only for the people who came from a certain background, or whatever the fuck you believe, like if you fully believe that, then that's what you will create. But until you realize you are the one who holds the keys to literally everything that you want in life, like, man, once you realize that, you go on to create some extraordinary things. And that's my hope for you. I can relate to all of this so much. My job is safe. I love my boss. It's easy and it pays different or decent. And so, right, when we're in that and it's like, oh, well, it's safe. I'm good. I'm comfy. When we're comfy, we don't really create change, right? Because usually we create change because we're uncomfortable and we're running towards something that's more comfortable. And so if our current situation is comfortable, then we don't really feel that fire to create change. And so that could require a different kind of mindset that we would have to get into, which is a whole other thing. But I know it won't get me to my goals. By the time I'm home, my energy is depleted and I'm not giving it all to my business. Jess, you were calling me out. Okay, cool. So you get it, right? And, it's whatever is most important to you. Like wherever your priorities lie, that's what we should be running towards. We don't run towards comfortability and safety. We run towards like the things that we truly desire. Like whatever you know, desires are placed in our heart, that's what we should be running for. And so if it doesn't matter what those desires are, whether it's to create a business that has, you know, $20,000 months, or it's to create a business that has $5,000 months and you're traveling the world solo. Like, I don't know what it is, and I don't really care what it is. It matters what it is for you. And whatever those goals are, that's the alignment, like decisions that you should be making, is like, what gets me closer to where I want to be? Not what keeps me safe, what keeps me comfortable, what keeps me quote unquote taken care of. It's like, what gets me closer to where I want to be? Because when you start making decisions based on the alignment, when you start making decisions based on where you're wanting to take your life and where you're wanting to go, that's when things start to click into place. That's when miracles start to happen. That's when, you know, opportunities start to open. That's when doors start to open. That's when new people come into your life. Like, that's when everything just starts to work out as it should, because you're finally making the decisions based on like where your heart desires and like where you're trying to go. And that's the most important, is living a life completely fulfilled based on like what you really want to do here, not just what's comfortable. So I love you guys so much. I'm going to get off here and get ready for my call and do a couple other things, but just know, like, I have so much content coming. I have so much seeping from my bones that I want to share with you guys. We're going to do a whole year in review. I'm going to share my biggest lessons from 2025, my biggest wins, my biggest losses. Like, I'm going to share it all with you guys. That's next to come. I'm just working it all out right now and getting it all out on paper. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.